ang Republic Act number 4566 ay naging bulok na batas na ginagamit sa pansariling interes. It was meant to protect the public, Mr. President, but now it is protecting the pockets of the few.
Hindi naman po kung halimbawa nakakita tayo ng ilang kamatis na bulok na nandun po sa isang tiklis, ay masisiraan na po yung buong figura ng construction industry in this country.
Erwin Tulfo is recognized.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise today on a matter of personal and collective privilege, not just with concern, but with outrage. Outrage, Mr. President, over a law that was meant to regulate the construction industry, but has now been twisted into a weapon of abuse, greed, and corruption. Ang tinutukoy ko po ay itong Republic Act number 4566 o ang Contractors License Law. At sa ilalim ng batas na nag-amyenda dito ay ang Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board o PICAB na siyang nagbabantay, nangangasiwa at nagre-regulate sa industriya ng lahat ng konstruksyon sa Pilipinas. Maganda po ang batas na ito, maganda po ang layunin, Ginoong Pangulo. Ngunit may malaki pong problema. Ayon kasi sa nasabing batas, kailangang lahat ng mga miyembro ng PICAB ay may 10 taon o higit pang karanasan sa pangungontrata. Now, Mr. President, I ask you in this chamber, how can contractors regulate themselves? How can we expect impartiality when those who sit in judgment are the very same people who compete for and corner government projects worth billions of pesos? This is not regulation, Mr. President. This is what you call state-sanctioned conflict of interest, and it directly violates Republic Act number 6713 or the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees. And true enough, Mr. President, reports are out that some board members, supposedly watchdogs of the industry, have themselves bagged massive flood control projects like Engineer Ernie Bagao, a PICAB board member and owner of the EGB Construction Corporation. This construction company, according to President Marcos, bagged 7.7 billion pesos worth of flood control projects from 2022 to 2025. And these projects are not only tainted with allegations of overpricing and substandard work, but some are outright ghost projects. EGB Construction Corporation reportedly also owns Wow Wow Builders, who is said to be behind several ghost projects in Bulacan, Mr. President. Ang isa pang opisyal ng PICAB na si Engineer Arthur Escalante ay nabanggit din ni Senador Ping Lacson na nakakuha ng malalaking kontrata sa pamahalaan. Tell me, Mr. President, paano magiging patas ang isang board o ahensya kung ang mga miyembro nito, opisyales, ay sumasali at nananalo sa bilyong-bilyong kontrata ng gobyerno, lalo na sa mga flood control projects na ngayon ay nalulubog sa kontrobersiya, anomalya at katiwalian. PICAB is silent because how can they investigate themselves? How can they police their own ranks when the law itself did not explicitly prohibit its officials to stop its construction business? Mr. President, let's stop sugarcoating. This is corruption in broad daylight. Mr. President, this cannot go on. We have to ask ourselves, Should contractors still dominate PICAB? Should those who accredit and regulate be the same people who rake in government contracts? Should we impose a total ban on PICAB members and their companies from bidding in public works while in office with a strict cooling off period after? It is for this reason that I filed Senate Bill number 1373, or an act strengthening the contractor's license law, further amending for the purpose Republic Act number 4566 and for other purposes. Layunin po ng panukalang batas na ito na higpitan ang regulasyon ng mga lisensya ng mga kontratista. Sinisiguro din ito na ang miyembro ng PICAB ay madidiskwalipika kung siya ay may-ari o opisyal ng mga kumpanyang may transaksyon sa pamahalaan. Mr. President, the Filipino people deserve honesty, fairness in public works projects that truly serve their communities. Not this circus where regulators double as beneficiaries, where laws are exploited and where corruption festers under the guise of legality. Ang Republic Act number 4566 ay naging bulok na batas na ginagamit sa pansariling interes. It was meant to protect the public, Mr. President, but now it is protecting the pockets of the few. Mr. President, it is time to slam the brakes on this racket. No more thieves involved in the creation of our national budget. No more regulations or regulators doubling as profiteers. No more flood control projects that serve as cash cows for the few, while millions of Filipinos ay nalulunod at inaadod ng tubig baha. Enough is enough, Mr. President. We have to take action. Maraming salamat po at magandang hapon sa ating lahat.
Ang SBN 1373.
Marami
Thank you,
po,
Senator.
Sen. Rafi, Mr. President, ang meron itong Republic Act, or not Republic Act, but SB 1373. Narito po ang ilan dito, ang reorganisasyon po ng PICAB, na ang kanilang mga miyembro na 5, chairman plus 4 po na miyembro, ay dapat po mga representante mula sa DPWH, Securities and Exchange Commission, at contracting industry at saka academe or civil society. At alisin na po yung mga kontratista na mga nakaupo po doon. Isa pa po, mas stricto na qualification para sa mga miyembro. Dapat po ang miyembro nito ay natural-born Filipino, residente po ng 8 taon dito sa ating bayan, at least 35 years old, na may maganda pong moral character. Disqualification cannot be an owner po, officer or stockholder of a construction company with government transactions. Dapat po wala kung siya po ay may negosyo. If a conflict of interest arises during his tenure, the member must divest interest within 30 days, Mr. President. Isa pa pong feature nito ay ang fixed term of office. Ang chairman at ang mga miyembro ay magsisilbi po ng 3 taon at wala na pong reappointment. Enhanced powers of PICAB. PICAB can now investigate violations motu proprio on its own or upon verified complaints. Ang nangyayari po kasi ngayon, Mr. President, hindi sila nag-iimbestiga dahil paano nila iimbestigahan ang kanilang mga sarili, Mr. President? Ang panghuli po, stronger accountability of contractors. Prescripted period of filing charges extended to 10 years. Yung mga substandard at saka mga ghost projects, dapat po kahit na 10 taon na yan at pwede pong kasuhan. Renewal after revocation of license may only be reissued upon proof, demonstrable financial and operating capacity, full satisfaction of losses, costs, and compliance with condition of revocation. Yan po ang mga salient features po ng naturang Senate bill. Mr. President.
Mr. President, I'm looking
Is our
forward
colleague,
itong
Mr.
pick up
President,
sa-
still amenable for a few clarificatory questions by way of interpellation?
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. President, is our honorable colleague aware of the fact that the 15 contractors identified by the President of the Philippines in his initial report about the anomalous corruption in the flood control projects are not even members of the Philippine Contractors Association?
Mr. President, yung si Attorney Ernie Bagao na mention po na may-ari ng EGB Construction ay isa po doon sa top 15 na ayon po sa listahan ng Pangulo ay nakakuha po ng 7.7 billion pesos. Siya po ay board member ng PICAB, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I think our good colleague didn't get the question. Mr. President, is our colleague aware of the fact that the 15 contractors identified in these anomalous flood control projects are not even members of the Philippine Contractors Association?
We will have to check on that, Mr. President. I don't have the list right now, but I can check it and probably give the copy to the gentleman from Pampanga.
Mr. President, there is no need for that because this representation knows the fact that these 15 identified contractors are not members of the Philippine Contractors Association. Why am I asking this question, Mr. President? The Philippine Contractors Association is the primary organization of the most reputable contractors in this country. And I'd like to provide the information that this particular association is singly responsible in the creation of the CIAP. This is the Construction Industry Authority of the Philippines. Before that, Mr. President, the construction is not considered as an industry. It is only a sector. At that time, there was a debate, a national debate, that it is contributory to the gross domestic product of our country. It being a sector, it was not recognized as an industry. But because of the Philippine Contractors Association, it espoused a national consciousness that it is a major industry, one that is constructing the very foundation of our infrastructure. It is the one responsible to our skyline. Kaya ko po sinasabi ito, Mr. President, kailangan marinig din po sila. Hindi naman po kung halimbawa nakakita tayo ng ilang kamatis na bulok na nandun po sa isang tiklis, ay masisiraan na po yung buong figura ng construction industry in this country. Napakarami po ng reputable. Ito po, kaya ko po sinasabi, baka po sa pagbanat natin doon sa 15 lang, kung tutuusin ay nasasadlak pa sila sa isang investigasyon na ongoing ngayon sa Blue Ribbon Committee. Sana'y tingnan natin po yung mga matitibay na haligi ng construction industry na sila po yung nagtayo, sila ang nanguna kung bakit nagkaroon po ng CIAP, ng Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board sa ilalim po ng Department of Trade and Industry. Kaya ko po sinasabi ito, Mr. President, bago pa po ako naging congressman. Ako po ay nagtrabaho sa isang federasyon ng mga contractors. Ang Philippine Contractors po ay isang matibay na haligi at kasama po sa tinatawag na International Federation of Asian and Western Pacific Contractors Association. Ang ibig po sabihin niyan, tayo po'y bahagi ng isang regional, even a global conglomerate of contractors. Sana po ay matingnan din natin yung paraan kung paano na-develop, kung paano naging bahagi ng ating ekonomiya ang Philippine Construction Accreditation Board sa ilalim ng pamamahala ng Construction Industry Authority of the Philippines na ngayon nga po ay nando na po na bahagi ng ating Department of Trade and Industry. Yun lamang po ang aking gustong sabihin by way of manifestation. Salamat, Senator Erwin, sa pagpapahayag mo ng bahaging ito na maaari nating mapag-usapan in terms of legislation. Salamat po.
Maraming salamat, Mr. President. Pero I just want to clarify, Mr. President, that my privileged speech was not about the Contractors Association. It was rather centered on a bill that should amend the Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board, Mr. President, not specifically on the Contractors Association, but rather yung pong batas na ginawa pa noong Hunyo 19, 1965, lumang-luma na po at parang hindi na po siya applicable to this day, Mr. President. So yun po yung nais ko pala pong sabihin sa aking pong privilege speech. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
All right.